Specialised Masonry Restoration were contacted about a problem with a shopping mall in East Texas. The problem was that the faked stone that had been applied to the tilt wall concrete panels had been installed with a few flaws, in that some areas had become dangerously loose. A full panel of stone veneer on the bank building just collapsed without any warning, ending up as a pile of rubble on the sidewalk. A structural engineering firm was called in to do a thorough inspection of all of the panels that had stone veneer installed on them during construction. This picture was taken the day the stone veneer coating on the tilt wall panel construction just collapsed onto the sidewalk without any prior warning. Luckily, there were no pedestrians walking by at this time. This is an extended view of the north elevation of the bank, showing how much stone was covering the buildings. Opposite was a large grocery store that had a large volume of traffic at all hours. Specialised Masonry Restoration now had the structural engineer's report and the drawings. It was now time to come up with a repair strategy for anchoring the stone veneer. Specialised Masonry Restoration and the engineer agreed on a remedial anchor system to hold the loose areas of masonry stone in place. The first repair strategy was to drill a pilot hole through the fake stone and embed 2 inches into the concrete panel and install a helical dry fix tie. But the problem with that is that the expansion from the dry fix anchor on the fake stone would cause the stone to crack. So the new solution to this problem was to install a stainless steel threaded bar and a twin pack epoxy resin to bond the two materials together. To ensure quality control, Specialised Masonry Restoration liaised with Simpson technical staff to come out and view the pull-out test required for this type of anchor system. One major problem with this project that quickly became apparent was that there was a large volume of pedestrian and vehicles moving in and out of the businesses during the daylight hours from 8 till 5. Specialised Masonry Restoration decided that the best way to carry out the contract efficiently was to work at night from boom lifts that were easy to move to the staging area during the day. This was better than setting up traditional steel scaffolding that could block access to the business entryways. The signage on the buildings and the steel canopies were going to be difficult to manoeuvre around without removing, but that was not an option. The only areas that were easy to get access to were the flank walls at the end of the buildings that had no signage or obstructions. The plan was to start work on the building first and install the anchors, and then reinstate the fake stone to the panel that had collapsed. The boom lift was moved into position to start drilling the pilot holes for the anchor installation, but I noticed that the panel had bowed outward in the middle. I pushed on the bow and it started cracking. This just became dangerous, so Specialised Masonry Restoration removed the panel opposite to the one that had collapsed. This was easy to remove. It just fell off the panel. To highlight how this had become a safety issue is illustrated here in this picture, as seen in this pile of rubble on the sidewalk. Specialised Masonry Restoration inspected the pieces of rubble closely and noted that the panel had no anchored steel mesh that helps bond the fake stone to the panel. I was able to pull the fake stone off with having anchored the existing fake stone on the adjacent panels. Specialised Masonry Restoration jet washed the concrete panels in preparation for galvanised steel mesh to be attached. The steel mesh was attached with Tapcon screws to secure it as per code. A scratch coat was then applied in preparation for reinstalling the stone veneer back to the panel. Specialised Masonry Restoration attached the new stone veneer to the tilt wall panels. It takes time for the mortar to dry out. On the north elevation, Specialised Masonry Restoration matched the mortar to the existing panels. Specialised Masonry Restoration found other panels that had not been installed correctly. They were taken down and new stone veneer panels were installed correctly. Working at night allowed for Specialised Masonry Restoration not to restrict deliveries to businesses during the day, and not to restrict the entryways in case of an emergency. Matching the mortar to existing takes time and experience to get it just right, as the colours do change over time. Getting access to areas was restricted in a lot of cases, as highlighted here at the drive-through. Specialised Masonry Restoration worked with the business owner to work around their hectic schedule. The specifications for the anchors were to be installed at approximately 16" on centre. In this picture, you can see the grey resin dots shining in the sun. A close-up of the panel highlighting the resin dots in grey epoxy resin. Specialised Masonry Restoration were able to work with different paint textures to make the dots disappear to the naked eye. A close-up of the painted dots. We even had trouble spotting where we had painted, as the match to the existing stone colours was so close. The contract took 4 weeks for Specialised Masonry Restoration to complete successfully. Working nights, if we'd tried to work this project during the day, it would have taken us months.